Hi, my name is Joseph Alai. Welcome to my channel. And today I want to talk about the difference between positive thinking and manifestation. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because I think it's very important to kind of float around the basics. And this is a question that I get a lot from very beginners. I was with my cousin. He had come out to visit me. He's actually staying with me for a couple of weeks. And we went on a hike. And I posted some pictures on my Instagram about of the hike. And while we were on the hike, you know, we were going over a little bit about what manifestation is. And he's not into manifestation, doesn't really know anything about manifestation, except for me talking to him about manifestation years ago. And so when we were walking up the mountain, which is beautiful, by the way, it was like, I don't know, it was an amazing view. I usually go at night in full moon, but we're walking up the mountain and we're talking about it. And when I asked him what did he think that it was, that was what he said. He said, or he didn't say I think, but he said, is it kind of like positive thinking? He's like, I kind of think it's like positive thinking. And I'll get into that. But first, before we get into that, definitely hit the like button to something to the algorithm so that people would not be able normally to see this video, will be able to see this video. And subscribe and hit the bell icon for very step-by-step directions and instructions and techniques on how to manifest literally anything you want, whether it's health, wealth, love, happiness, specific people, whatever the case may be. So do that now and we'll just jump right into it. So positive thinking. When I mentioned to him, or when I brought upon the idea of manifesting, the first thing that came out of his mouth was positive thinking. And that's what I used to think way back in the day, right? So here's the thing. When manifestation is something that most would consider airy-fairy, supernatural, or just fake or a lie. And I actually was in that train of thought for the majority of my life, probably 2/3 of my life. And that's what we're taught. That's the model of the life that we live in, is that we are each, you and I, we are separate entities. There is nothing connecting us together except for the world, right? Now, manifestation has a whole nother spin on this, that there's some entity, right? Or something, some way, somehow, from which you can think and then have an effect on the external world, right? So in effect, what I mean is manifestation gives the idea, or you can prove by testing it, that your thoughts can in some way modify reality. And there are many trains of thoughts that say to varying degrees, you can modify your reality. I'm of the train of thought, or the school of thought, due to my own personal experiences, that this entire experience that we are in is drawn in or otherwise influenced 100% due to our thinking. So what's the difference between that and positive thinking? So positive thinking is the idea is, and I read this somewhere, I think it was in college as well, that there's a mechanism in our brain which directs us to things that we think about. So in essence, it removes the idea that we're drawing in or that we're manifesting something, and it just alludes to the idea that if I'm thinking about something, if I'm using affirmations, if I'm imagining something, then my attention will catch the thing that I've imagined. And also, there's a book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, and what he alludes to mostly is that you will automatically begin to program yourself to operate in a way which will be conducive to receiving what you want. So if you continuously imagine that you have millions of dollars, or that you're famous, or that you're married with someone, or whatever the case may be, you know, athletes having extreme success, then you will train your body and your mind to automatically seek opportunity, which when recognized, you will be compelled to take action, and enough of those will drive you to your success. But it completely eliminates the idea of anything in our mind influencing the external world in a way that is either mystical or magical or an emission of thoughts or anything like that. So to sum it all up and to boil it all up, positive thinking is only as it relates to oneself. There is no manifestation, there's no modification or influence of other people through your thoughts without ever taking any action. Whereas imagination, right? So what my train of thought is that our imagination is God. And that's a far cry from the idea that our thoughts just will influence ourselves. The idea that the imagination is God, which in Scripture, this is what's it's hidden behind Scripture, means that whatever we imagine, not only will I be compelled to execute a plan in order to receive that thing or to obtain that thing, but the rest of the world will also be influenced to obtain that thing. And to go even further, it's always been happening. There's never been a time from which we have not been influencing the world to bring us our experience to greater or less degrees. Now, also though, you can figure this all out through testing, right? Experimenting. So we go hiking, right? And then when we come back, we have a conversation about, I forget what we were talking about, some type of food, pho, because we're here in San Diego and the Asian food's good. And so we went to go get pho or whatever. And so we come back and we're both doing our separate things. And I come in, I peer at the screen of his computer, and there's exact wording from where we just were on that menu, the strange food, I don't even remember what it was called, on his computer screen, but it had nothing to do with the restaurant that we were just at, right? But nevertheless, he was sitting completely unaware or not connecting to that what he had just seen was what we had just been talking about when we were sitting in a restaurant. So the interesting thing is that the majority of individuals that experience manifestation or synchronicity are completely unaware of it. I oftentimes give the story of my friend John. We were walking near the beach and he was telling me a story about a truck, a very specific type of truck, a truck that was manually created and framed and shaped and had specific types of logos on it. And then we watched a TV show, and as we're sitting there and watching a TV show, I'm telling you, the exact truck appears on the screen, right? And this is minutes after we're talking about it, maybe half hour. And yet, nevertheless, he sat completely unaware. I'm talking about down to the shape of the bumper, the shape of the back, and this is an animated thing that pops up on the screen. And we're just talking about this. What we were talking about had nothing to do with the TV show. It had something to do with real life. But nevertheless, we had just been talking about it. We're both sitting there. I'm sitting on a chair. He's sitting on another chair, watching the same thing. And yet I can recognize the connection between what we were just talking about, and what was on the screen, and he couldn't, right? So most individuals, in fact, until someone taps you on the shoulder and says, your thoughts are creating your reality, we are completely unaware, mostly. Some of us catch on over time. Like I've had some incidents before I was completely aware that made me really think like, whoa, what the heck just happened? You know? And so that's just the way that it is. So positive thinking to the mind of someone who does not know what manifesting is. Positive thinking is control over the individual, which will in some way influence you through your subconscious mind to become a specific person through your own guided actions. Whereas manifestation is the impression on the subconscious mind of what you want after the end. And then the universe or God will impress on your subconscious mind the activity or actions that you need one step at a time, right? Not the whole thing, not the whole plan, but one step at a time in order for you to receive the thing that you want. But God will also, because we're all within the awareness, or God will also influence any and all people that need to be a part of your play, your scheme, your plan in order for you to receive what you want. And it's not only modifying yourself, it's altering other people through their own impulses. And so that's the difference between positive thinking and manifestation. And so I really hope that you check out all the other videos that I have so that you can put manifestation to the test. You don't need to believe anything at all. There are systematic ways for you to test it, to prove it to yourself. That's what happened to me. I used to think that positive thinking was the way. That had nothing to do with any connection between me or you or me or God or whatever until I started to test it and see these miraculous experiences. And then there was no denying it after they all stacked up. So that's what I hope for you. So anyway, I hope you like this. By the way, if you hadn't gotten my worksheet yet, the one as far as finding the root cause or the least common denominator of all the different manifestations in your world and how to change them and modify them to start experiencing what you want, I'll post that link below, but definitely subscribe and hit the bell icon and stay tuned for more. Thank you so much for watching.